very aggressive. A new day. And you won't be pushed around. Take it down.
Hiya. It's time to continue our build. I have my soldering iron ready to go. So I'm a little bit worried about that, so I'm going to do some soldering. I've never done soldering before in my entire life. First thing I'm going to need to do to connect these ESCs is shorten these motor wires, because these are going to sit on these arms, and I need to allow space for the ESC cover to go on as well. So it's probably going to be about there, mid arm. There you go. Stick that on the arm there. And then it's going to go middle, so it's going to go about there, innit? Now I have to think about snipping these motor wires. Calling my snips cheapo nasty. Right, there we go, 3 snip motor wires. Now what I've got to do is strip a bit of wire off the end of each one. Oh, this is going to be fiddly, isn't it, getting the wire strippers in this close. Well, worked, didn't it? Now, I'm actually thinking these are still going to be a bit long. Go on, shorten a little bit more, I think. That's where I was going wrong. I need to be snipping it near the end. There you go, snipping nice now, aren't they? I'm using the right end of the snips. You don't know what you're doing. Still a little bit long there, aren't they? A little bit, tiny bit more. Right, they're bang on now. This is going to be all the more fiddly now, that's the problem. Oh no, I can't get in. I can't actually get in now to strip these. I've got another pair of pliers on now with little strippers on. I wonder if I can get them with them. Yeah, should be able to. Just got to be very careful here now, because if I make a mistake, this is the thing, if I make a mistake and chop the actual wire, I'm ending up with wires that are too short, aren't I? Doesn't magnifying glass for this, me. I thought I had pretty good eyes, but I tell you, I'm struggling with this. There we go. That's nice, that. I'm happy with that. Now what I'm told you have to do is pre-tin where you're going to connect it to. I'm just thinking before I do this that we should remove the heat shrink on these, because you're going to put your own heat shrink on, aren't you? So let's do that. So I've got a knife here. So there we go. That's the original heat shrink off. This little sticker. Wow. Bloody hell. It's fiddly. There we go. Gotcha. Right, so that's all that removed. In fact, I could tin these while it's not on there, couldn't I? Move the quad out of the way. Stick it on here. There we go. That should make this job a little bit easier, I hope. Right, so here we go. You are about to witness the first time I've ever soldered. Not too successful too far. Now, I feel like it's bleeding up a lot, but it's not transferring to the board now. Does that mean that the board's just not getting hot enough or what? Oh, that's too much on there now. Oh dear. I've got to say that looks pretty rough. Not happy about that at all. First thing I've learned is soldering is a lot harder than it looks. Let's have another go. No, I don't know what's wrong here. It's just beating up, it's just awful. It's just not doing what I'd expect it to do at all. I don't know what I'm doing wrong there. Oh dear me. This is awful. Not doing a very good job here at all. I actually know what I'm doing wrong. Like I said, the only assumption I can come to is that soldering is a whole lot harder than I thought it was. Back again. Last night I tried to connect the first ESC up and failed miserably because what I thought was probably my soldering abilities, but it turned out it was probably a bit of that, but mainly that my soldering iron was basically a massive pile of shit. It was cheap, but I didn't think it'd be that bad. But basically I've read up, and the problem with the soldering iron was the tip had oxidised, and I hadn't even used it. It was the first time I used it, and it completely oxidised, gone black. And so what that meant was that the tip wasn't getting hot enough to melt the solder properly, hence why I couldn't do any soldering. If that's happened on pretty much a brand spanking new soldering iron, forget it, you know, and I'll invest in something decent. So that's what I've gone and done. And not only have I invested in that, I've invested in some other bits as well, but I've invested in this thing here. Can't be honest, it looks the nuts. I also got myself, because it was cheap and I just spotted it in Macklin, one of these helping hand things. Put like your ESCs in there, whatever. Basically it just holds it, and there's a little magnifying glass as well, because I noticed I was really struggling to see. I'd never thought I had bad eyesight, but I was struggling to see the motor wires to the ESCs properly, so I'm hoping this will really help. I also got some desoldering wick. It's like copper braiding, and the idea is it will basically suck melted solder in to the braid. So if you've got a joint that you're not happy with, you can reapply heat to it, and this will draw the solder away, and then I guess you cut it off and throw that bit away. So I'm hoping now, I've got no excuses. If I have any trouble soldering now, it's definitely my fault. Put the new soldering iron together. I've set it to 725 degrees Fahrenheit as recommended. First thing I'm going to do is test it by taking off this excess solder. I just put some solder on the thing actually, and just cleaned it off, and the tip's cleaning up really nice. It's nice and silver. It's everything that I expected a soldering iron to be. Okay, so let's try this desoldering wick and see if I can get this solder off these wires. Oh, look at that, look at that. Different story now, isn't it? Not too bad that actually. So I'm going to put some fresh stuff on it, and then some fresh stuff on the ESC, and we'll see if we can get it done now. Look how that like melts into the wire, and that's what I thought soldering's supposed to be. What's supposed to happen. There you go, look at that, how nice is that? It's just melted nicely into the wire. Exactly what I want it to do, exactly what I expected it to do with the other soldering iron, but it didn't do that. Let's dig out my ESC from last night, which I hope isn't destroyed from all the heat I applied to it. Let's see if I can get it to hold my... Oh, it's a bit tight. I don't want to damage it, you know. In fact, do we need to do this? It's a bit lumpy, but it's not too bad, that is it? Probably a bit late to use it now, but you know, why not? So the idea of that is it puts some flux onto your pads and makes the solder stick better. Right, let's see how we go now, because I'm hoping this is going to be a lot easier. Apply heat to the pad rather than the solder. Yeah, that's cool. That's a lot better, isn't it? Look at that. That's what I expected it to do. That's what I expected to happen last night. So I'm pleased with that. Hold that down with some blue tack. We will now attempt to stick these together. Okay, so that's not stuck together, but maybe with tweezers we'll get it to go. Okay, bit happy with that, got me said. A little bit more to that one. It's got to be, hasn't it? It's got to be. It's not too bad, is it? Not too bad for my first ever soldering job. Right, so let's do our next one. This time it's going to be anti-clockwise, isn't it? Right, so this time I'm going to want to swap these two over. So take the heat shrink off. There we go. Is that gone? We'll get rid of this little tiny sticker. There we go. Oh yeah, we'll use our flux pen this time. Right, there we go. Smells nice. Not. Right, so let's have a go. It's nice. Okay, a lot better, a hell of a lot better. That's the ESC tinned, isn't it? And then we're going to have to chop these motor cables down again, bearing in mind that we want that one to reach here, that one to reach here. Right, so next job is to tin the ends of the wires. As we said, this is a anti-clockwise motor, so that one wants to go here. So we'll definitely have to use the tweezers to make this work. There we go. Try that. Imagine these guys that have been doing this a long time would say they're certainly not the best joints, you know what I mean, but I guess if they work, don't they? So let's crack on. Right, so next one, number 3. Number 3 is also a anti-clockwise motor. Okay, so same again. Right, we'll take this heat shrink off and the sticker as well, of course. There we go. Tin the pads, solder pads. Better. So now this time we need to chop these wires again, and these are going to be crossed over again because it's anti-clockwise. There we go. So for that. Right, so let's tin them up. No, that feel just feels like it's going a lot better. I'd say actually the first one is after I've pissed about with it, is alright. The second one I'm not so keen on. That one's maybe a bit too much solder, or maybe I had a bit too much, maybe it's lumpy because I had a bit too much wire at the end. Maybe I should have chopped the wires a little bit shorter and had less stripped. But you know, we'll get there. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's all a learning experience, isn't it? As long as the thing don't blow up, I can aim for better and better solder joints the more I do it. Right, so last one. That's a good one. Oh yeah, that's by far out of the four the best one. That's me for the night, I think. The next thing will be to tomorrow, or whenever, will be to bring the flight controller in, mount it, and do the soldering to the flight controller, and then we'll have we've made some serious progress there. Thank you. Ta-ta.